Chapter 1251. Olivia felt a little helpless. Ethan's focus was entirely on her and Wayne. He didn't care about national pride or whatever ongoing conflict there was. The only thing going through his mind at that moment was Wayne and Olivia becoming a couple. That's not the point, Ethan. Please help me, okay? I'll come back as soon as I get the ring. He won't know who I am. Ethan would have agreed to any other request when Olivia was pleading with him in such a soft tone. But Olivia's actions were a provocation to his pride. That's impossible. I won't let you get into more danger. Wayne is one of the most dangerous people around. You have to come with me. You shouldn't be getting involved in this matter. Olivia's tone grew cold. Okay, you won't help me, will you? Since you can't help me with my work, there's no need for us to be together anymore. Ethan smiled bitterly. Liv, please don't threaten me with this. Ethan, 3 years ago, you were sent to the emergency room and I was slapped by Crystal while I was waiting for you in the cold and dark corridor. Do you know what went through my mind back then? All of the medical staff looked down on me, but I couldn't do anything about it. I could only watch as Crystal gave you her blood. I heard them saying I was a jinx and a trophy wife. They wondered why you would marry someone as useless as I was. While you were undergoing surgery, I was sitting outside of the operating room. The door was like an impenetrable barrier between us. We used to be so close, but we were from different worlds to begin with. I could only watch as you left to go on missions. Meanwhile, I was in the empty and lonely home all by myself, waiting for your return. I've had enough of that life. I want to be reborn. I want to be someone who serves our country and our people. I want to embrace freedom. Sadie's baby was born suddenly. Olivia quickly went over to tap the baby's bottom. All of them sighed in relief when the baby started to cry. Olivia quickly picked him up and cleaned him in the basin of water she had prepared in advance. She wiped the baby down and took off her shirt to wrap the baby in it. She put the baby in Sadie's arms. It's a healthy baby boy. Sadie was moved to tears. Thank you so much. Olivia only had a camisole left. She walked up to Ethan and leaned into his embrace. With her arms wrapped around his waist, she nestled her face on his chest. Ethan, I'm no longer that crybaby you once knew. I've matured, really. Ethan looked down to see Olivia with tears in her eyes. He sighed and hugged her back. He muttered in her ear, Liv, what do you want from me? She tiptoed and kissed him on the lips. Ethan, don't ever doubt my feelings for you. You're the only one I love. Ethan took off his jacket and put it on her. Liv, oh Liv, why can't you be more obedient? I want to help you, Grandpa, and the whole country. I'll kill Wayne if I need to. They shared a long passionate kiss before Olivia broke free from his embrace. He should be here soon. I need to leave. Liv, no. I'll be back as soon as I can. Olivia took off the jacket. He'll be suspicious of me. My current identity is Ophelia from Canwell City. The reason I ran out this time was to look for you. You have to remember what I said. Ethan took a good look at her before making up his mind. He said hoarsely, okay, I got it. You have to take care of yourself. Okay. Olivia talked to Sadie a little and rubbed Ethan's cheek before she left. In the past, Olivia was the one watching when Ethan left for work. This time, Ethan had to watch as she walked away. He finally understood how she felt. He was already missing her before she even left his sight. Chapter 1252. The first thing Olivia did when she stepped outside was to cover up the traces of amniotic fluid on the ground with some dirt. She made it so that the trace of the fluid stopped at the intersection of the street. When Wayne got there by following the trail, he found that the trail ended. He wanted to look for other clues when he heard some rustling noises from an alleyway nearby. He drew his gun and approached the noise. Olivia was sitting behind a trash can with a blank look on her face. She screamed in fright when she realized someone was approaching her. Don't get any closer. She threw a stone she was holding toward Wayne, who was able to dodge it with a simple sidestep. It was a clean and elegant dodge. Wayne looked at her condescendingly. I've found you at last. Olivia's vision came into focus. It's you. She tried to run away reflexively, but Wayne was able to grab her by the neck. The next moment, he slung her on his shoulder. "You bastard, let me go. I don't want to go back. Make another move and I'll shoot you." Ethan gazed at Olivia, who was being carried away, from a distance. He clenched his fists, and his eyes became bloodshot. He had the urge to rush outside and save her. But she would hate him if he did that. He notified the others that he had found Sadie. A car soon arrived and transported her and her baby away. Ethan had no choice but to leave too. Olivia was carried back to the temporary base by Wayne. He then casually threw her to the ground. Olivia fell onto the dirt in the yard. Luckily, it wasn't concrete, but the pain still made her frown. "Run away, why don't you?" Wayne reached out, and someone handed him a baseball bat. He slung it over his shoulder like a ruffian. "I'll break your legs. Let's see how you'll run away, then." Olivia shuffled backward in fright. "No, please don't break my legs. I won't run away again. I really won't do it anymore." Wayne smirked. "You're full of lies, woman. I don't believe a single word you say. I only believe in myself." He slowly walked toward Olivia. Olivia was trembling in fear. She was wearing a camisole. There was some dirt and blood on her pale and smooth skin. Her slender and supple waist was completely exposed. Her retreating movements were triggering him for some reason. Wayne felt his throat dry up. He felt it again. "I promise I'll properly provide you with treatment from now on. Don't break my legs, please." It was so scary outside. "I won't try to run again," Olivia pleaded. It seemed like she learned her lesson with this little tour of the city. "Where did the pregnant woman go?" Olivia replied shakily. "I wanted to help her deliver the baby after I saved her. But then another group of people arrived at the scene. I was afraid I'd attract trouble to her, so we split up. I was lucky I got away. I don't know what happened to her. Ever the saint, aren't you?" Wayne threw the baseball bat next to her forcefully. "Remember this. I'll break your legs if you try something like this again." Olivia was locked up in a room. She wasn't given any food for a day. Wayne wanted to make her more obedient with that. One day without food wasn't much for Olivia. She looked at the setting sun outside the window. She could only put her faith in Ethan. Ethan didn't disappoint her. Her door was kicked open as soon as night fell. She was curled up in a ball. She looked at Wayne fearfully when he walked in. He picked her up and took her away. "Come with me." "Where are we going?" "Put me down. I can walk by myself. I'm about to throw up." Chapter 1253. Wayne was a very rough person. He carried Olivia all the way to the aircraft. Before she could scream, he threatened her coldly, "I'll throw you off the plane if you say another word." Olivia was rendered speechless. The plane took off. Olivia didn't know what had happened yet, but she knew that Ethan had pulled it off. Wayne was furious. He was like a barrel of gunpowder, ready to explode with the tiniest bit of spark. Olivia figured it was best for her to stay away from him for now because she didn't want to incur his wrath. She curled up into a ball and rested her chin on her knees. Then, she closed her eyes and tried to sleep. She was trying her best to become invisible. Wayne looked at Olivia, who was curled up. There were still some bruises and dirt on her skin. She looked worse for wear. Olivia felt a little chilly as the plane's air conditioner blew on her. Wayne took off his jacket and draped it on her. She felt much better after that. When Olivia woke up, the plane was already about to land in Carathia's capital city, Raqqa. The sunlight was shining on her. It was the reason she woke up. Looking at the unfamiliar view, Olivia asked, "Where are we?" "Raqqa." The rage on Wayne's face dissipated over the night. He had regained his composure. "Why did you bring me here? This is my country." Wayne stopped talking. There was a grand reception waiting for him outside the plane. Luckily, there weren't any reporters. Wayne was in a hurry. Olivia's face was mostly covered by Wayne's jacket. She quickly followed him into his car. The car was driven back to the presidential palace. The place was completely different from the place they stayed in at Dexam City. The presidential palace was an ancient castle. It was surrounded by all sorts of flowers. The temperature was warm, and there were some birds around the lake. There were fountains spraying water onto the grassy fields. Olivia found it hard to imagine that ruffian like Wayne lived in a place like this. Wayne handed her off to some maids. He knew that she was a bit of a clean freak, so he told them, clean her up. Then, he left without another word. The good news for Olivia was she could finally take a bath and wear clean clothes. She was the first woman Wayne had ever brought back to the presidential palace. The maids weren't dumb. They treated her very politely. Olivia turned down their offer to bathe her. She felt much more relaxed after enjoying a nice bath. It seemed like something major had happened in Carathea. Wayne wouldn't have rushed back otherwise. He probably didn't have time to bother Olivia at the moment. After the bath, she changed into the lace dress the maids prepared for her. The dress was made with the best materials by the best tailors. It featured a low neckline and a cinched waist. It showcased Olivia's ample chest and slender waist. Olivia braided her hair and secured the braid with a lace tied into a bow. She looked sexy and elegant. She didn't bother with asking about Wayne's whereabouts. She asked the maids to get her some food and ate her fill. She only asked about what was going on in the evening. The maids looked at each other but didn't dare to say too much to her. Olivia didn't press them further. Since she was already in Carathea, she was one step closer to finding the ring. When Wayne returned in a state of exhaustion, he noticed Olivia, who was standing on the terrace. The dress she wore revealed how slender her figure was. She was resting her chin on her hand and looking at the moon like she was deep in thought. There was a hint of sorrow in her eyes. Hey, I'm back. Time for acupuncture. Chapter 1254. Wayne's annoying voice rang in Olivia's ears. She didn't even want to turn around to face him. It was apparent that she was unhappy that he forcefully brought her to another country. Wayne grabbed her hand and dragged her away. What are you doing? I can walk on my own. Wayne pulled her to the master bedroom. The room was around 2,000 square feet. It was very spacious. The floor was covered in a white fur carpet. The decor in the room was as grand as the rest of the presidential palace. There were quite a few famous paintings on the wall. It didn't seem like Wayne was the one who decorated the room. His predecessor was probably the one who did it. He let go of Olivia's hand. My home is big, right? You can wear whatever you want and eat whatever you want. You can live comfortably as long as you don't try to escape and provide me with the treatment I need. I understand. Olivia was actually acting docile for once. Make your preparations while I take a shower. After that incident in Dexham City, Wayne had lowered his guard toward Olivia significantly. They were in his residence right now, so he was completely unguarded. Olivia didn't know her surroundings that well yet, so she didn't dare to make a move. She wasn't sure if he had spy cameras in his bedroom. It was best if she erred on the side of caution. Jeff had sent her to a renowned teacher to learn how to paint at a young age. The famous paintings she had only seen in the pages of books were all in this bedroom. All of them were original too. Olivia was shocked. Wayne's predecessor was a hardcore collector. Wayne walked out of the bathroom to see Olivia, who was filled with excitement. She looked at one painting after the other. She would sometimes go in for a closer look at the strokes, choice of colors, and how the strokes were initiated. What's so interesting about these paintings? A flash of surprise appeared in Olivia's eyes. Of course, they're interesting. These are all world-famous pieces of art. You can have them if you like them. Olivia pointed at her own nose. You're giving them to me. Do you even know how much these paintings are worth? Wayne was topless, wearing black casual pants that hung loosely on his waist. A large swath of his tanned skin was exposed. He exuded an incredible amount of masculine charm. They might be priceless treasures to you, but they're just trash to me. They won't even make good bonfire material. What a waste, Olivia exclaimed with a pained expression. If you can cure me, you can take these paintings with you. Then, he went to lie down on the bed. Massage my head for me. You're quite good at that, truth be told. Olivia brought a stool next to the bed and sat down. She used to massage Ethan's head pretty often. Sensing her skilled movements, Wayne asked, have you massaged other people before? Of course. Olivia didn't deny it. Patience. No, my husband. Wayne opened his eyes to meet her gaze. You're married. Yeah, I have kids too. Where are they? Do you think I'll tell you so that you can round them up? You don't look like someone who has given birth to children before. Wayne thought about the married women he had met back when he was young. They had saggy bellies and chests after giving birth. They would also have stretch marks on the sides of their abdomens. Those looked terrifying to him. Olivia's abdomen was tight and supple. There weren't any stretch marks. Even her chest. Wayne gazed at her chest reflexively. Her chest was white as snow and very ample. He felt his desires spark to life as he looked at her chest. It was as if something was tickling his throat. Olivia's chest moved with her actions. It was like the ripples on the surface of the ocean. For some reason, blood started to flow from Wayne's nose. Olivia looked at him and met his gaze. She instantly understood what was going on. She slapped him hard. "Where are you looking at, pervert?" Chapter 1255. Olivia had slapped Wayne twice in the span of a few days. He sat up and stared at her coldly. "Do you have a death wish, Ophelia? You're the one looking at places you shouldn't be looking at. You're the one wearing that dress." Olivia was furious. She picked up one of his shirts and wore it. She covered herself up completely. Then, she smacked him on the head and said, "Lie down. I'll start the acupuncture treatment. I'll poke you to death if your eyes wander to places they shouldn't. Why don't you give that a try? I'll kill you first." The atmosphere became awkward. Neither of them spoke. Wayne suddenly came to his senses. What was he doing? This woman was already married with kids. Why would he be interested in a married woman? Olivia completed the treatment in silence. Wayne sat up with the support of one arm. He turned his neck slowly to make cracking sounds. "I used to have headaches every other day. I haven't had a headache since you started your treatment. You're quite skilled." Olivia rolled her eyes at him. "I'll give you a prescription tomorrow. Have your people get the listed medication for you. It'll be able to sort out the internal damage you've suffered. It'll take up to 2 months for that to completely heal you. I'll leave when that's done. You must not stop me from leaving then." "Sure, I'll let you go when I'm cured," Wayne replied readily. "I'll go back to my room," Olivia said as she walked away. Wayne tossed and turned in bed after she left. He had been going to sleep while smelling Olivia's unique scent for the past few days. He wasn't able to fall asleep without her scent. Olivia heard someone kick her door open just as she was about to fall asleep. It was in the middle of the night. It was obvious that Wayne was the only person who would do something like this. She was at a loss for words. Fortunately, she was well prepared and hadn't removed her mask. She rubbed her eyes and looked at him unhappily. "Why are you here?" Wayne was carrying a blanket and a pillow. He lay down next to her bed. "Ignore me." She didn't know what to say. Wayne was just completely insane. She turned around and went back to sleep. Wayne was able to fall asleep very quickly when he smelled Olivia's scent. Her scent was like the perfect sleeping drug. Wayne woke up before the break of dawn and was about to leave. Then, he noticed that Olivia was still sound asleep. All of a sudden, he felt upset. He was so busy every day, but she was able to sleep in. It was unfair. So, he decided to give her something to do. He tapped her on the face. Olivia actually woke up the moment he stood by her bed and looked at her. She opened her eyes unwillingly. "Are you out of your mind, dude? Aren't you the one who would know that? Get up and help me get dressed." Anyone would have a bit of a temper if they were woken up so abruptly. Before Olivia could lash out, he pulled her blanket away. Fortunately, she was wearing long-sleeved pajamas that covered her up properly. But still, Wayne actually picked her up and slung her over his shoulder. "Let me go, you bastard." Wayne carried her back to his room. This time, he didn't drop her on the floor. She glared at him as she bounced on the bed. "I'll be showering. Prepare my outfit for me." Olivia was about to deny his request. Then, she realized that it was a good chance for her to go through his wardrobe. Okay. She opened the wardrobe. There were suits, casual attire, and even military attire sorted accordingly in it. Olivia's gaze fell on the military uniform that was adorned with medals. She thought about Ethan. He would never wear something like that in front of her. How handsome would he look if he wore that? Chapter 1256. Olivia spaced out looking at the military uniform. Her mind was filled with thoughts about Ethan. Wayne suddenly appeared behind her. What? Do you like this type of attire? Olivia turned around abruptly with shock in her eyes. Wayne lifted her face with his fingers and closed in on her. His masculine pheromones were on full blast. Your face might look plain, but your eyes are quite expressive. The mask couldn't alter her eyes. They were round and radiant, her lashes were thick and long. Her beautiful eyes elevated her plain looks to another level. Olivia felt a little nervous in such close proximity to him. She wanted to shove him away. Her hands touched his bare chest. She could feel his well-defined muscles. Before she could push him away, Wayne suddenly held her waist and pressed her against the wardrobe. What are you doing? Olivia snapped as she looked at him angrily. He got a nosebleed from looking at her last night. What was he trying to do this time? Wayne snapped back to reality and loosened his grip on Olivia. He actually had the urge to kiss her for a second. Olivia pushed him away and suppressed her emotions. Where are you going today? Do you need a suit or something else? A suit, Wayne said hoarsely while staring at her back. Even if he needed a woman, he wouldn't stoop so low as to long for a married woman, right? He backed away to a safe distance. Olivia was able to pick out a suit for him after a short while. I'll be heading back to my room. Wayne didn't try to get her to stay. He blamed the weird emotions he had been feeling recently on the fact that he had been single for 30 years of his life. Upon leaving his room, Alan came up to him. Mr. Maxwell, my brother will be returning today. Okay, Arlandia sent over a ceasefire agreement. What are your thoughts on it? Alan didn't hear a reply. Then, he noticed that Wayne was spacing out for some reason. Mr. Maxwell, did you hear me? Wayne snapped back to reality. What did you say? Did you not sleep well last night? Why are you so out of it? Wayne actually slept very well. He felt his throat dry up as he thought about Olivia's long, shapely legs. Yeah, we don't know how Arlandia managed to get Vutrin on their side. Vutrin declared that they'll be joining the fray if we continue our assault on Dexam City. If these two major powers join forces, we'll be at a great disadvantage. Should we accept Arlandia's ceasefire agreement? Wayne's gaze grew cold. Vutrin used to be neutral. They didn't know why Vutrin would suddenly side with Arlandia. At this point, Carathea couldn't make any rash decisions. He just wanted to take the land of other countries. He didn't want his own country to become a war zone. Well, run a military simulation when your brother is back. Dexam City was almost theirs, but they lost it at the last minute. If he had taken Dexam City, he could have set up military bases all around the city and posed a massive threat to Arlandia. Everything had been going according to his plan, but he didn't expect a third party to kidnap Princess Sadie. He wanted to mount an offense, but Olivia just happened to save Sadie. Ethan brought Sadie and her son back, so he was able to form an alliance with Vutrin. The situation was immediately flipped. Olivia probably didn't know her act of kindness would set off such a huge chain of events. In a way, she had a hand in stopping the war happening in Dexam City. Chapter 1257. Wayne gathered all the military experts for an urgent meeting. The meeting lasted for the entire day. No matter what calculations his think tank ran, there was only one result: defeat. They only had one option. That was to accept the ceasefire agreement and stop their assault on Dexam City. Otherwise, Arlandia and Vutrin would join forces and invade Carathea. That was something Wayne didn't want to see. In the next few days, Wayne was so busy he didn't even return to the presidential palace. Olivia started to get anxious after waiting for a few days. The places she could go to were limited. She couldn't even get close to where Wayne worked. So, there was no way she was getting that ring. It was like Wayne had completely forgotten about her. She was left in the presidential palace with the maids taking care of her. Her mission wasn't progressing at all. She didn't want to sit around and wait. When she was climbing down from a pipe on the second floor, someone was alerted by the noise. A commanding male voice suddenly sounded. "Who's there?" Olivia missed a step from shock and fell from 7 feet up. Fortunately, it wasn't too high up. She didn't fall onto the ground. Instead, she fell into someone's arms. It was Wayne who caught her. He looked a little fatigued after staying away for a few days. There was also a hint of anger in his eyes. Were you planning to escape again? I was just coming out for some air, Olivia explained anxiously. Then, she noticed they were surrounded by some men in formal wear. Mr. President, you know this suspicious woman. The man who spoke up was the one who yelled at her and caused her to fall. She looked at him and saw that he was a stranger. Alan said, Ike, this is the miracle doctor I told you about. Miracle doctor. The situation is very dangerous right now. You shouldn't keep a woman like this by your side, Mr. Maxwell. Ike didn't think Olivia looked like a doctor. Everyone, disperse. Wayne didn't offer an explanation. He just carried Olivia in his arms and went to his resting area. Olivia tried to break free from his embrace. Wayne seemed to be in a bad mood. He snapped, "Don't move." He exuded a gloomy demeanor. Olivia stopped moving and allowed him to carry her back into his room. I have a headache. Work your magic. Olivia brought her pack of needles over. I told you that the treatment has to be done daily. Where have you been? I was out on a business trip. Wayne's head was pounding. He urged her, do it now. He covered his eyes with his right hand. Olivia immediately noticed a black ring on his hand. She finally found it. Olivia was very excited. She couldn't stop her lips from curving into a smile. Wayne opened his eyes abruptly and saw the smile on her face. Why are you so happy? Olivia quickly changed the subject. That's not it. I just haven't seen you for days. I'm just happy that you're back. Wayne was weirdly pleased by this statement. He had always been shunned by everyone around him since he was a kid. No one ever wanted to see him. But Olivia said she was happy to see him. He felt his heartbeat quicken. How could Olivia not be happy to see him? It had been 10 days since she got here. She finally saw the ring. She was closer to completing her mission. In the following days, she only had to think about how she would gain Wayne's trust. She removed the needles and asked seriously, have you been having any episodes in the past few days? No, it's just some mild pain. It's much better than before. Did you take the meds I prescribed for you? I was too busy. This won't do. The acupuncture and the medication have to be done simultaneously. You can't just stop taking the meds. You'll be here for now, right? I'll handle the preparation of the meds from now on. Chapter 1258. Olivia stood sternly as she lectured Wayne with an air of seriousness. Yet, deep down, she was plotting to get closer to him. She had not gotten into contact with any core information during these 10 days. She knew she had to take the initiative or time would be wasted. If you're worried about me, you can have someone watch over me, Olivia suggested. Wayne responded with indifference, there's nothing to worry about. If you wanted to kill me, aiming for my vitals would do. Let's settle on that, he said. He caught the smile on Olivia's lips. So, you're eager to prepare medicine for me? He asked. Of course. You're my patient. Healing you will mean you'll let me go sooner. Wayne felt like a bucket of cold water had been poured over him. He had thought Olivia seemed more enthusiastic. However, he realized she was actually anxious to leave. Is it because you miss your man? Wayne probed after sensing her urgency. Images of Ethan and their separation flashed through Olivia's mind. It hadn't been that long, but the mention did stir feelings of longing. Yes, I miss him and our children, she admitted. As she spoke, a gentle smile played on Olivia's lips. Her eyes shimmered with a hint of shyness. Wayne found her ordinary face extraordinarily vivid in that moment. It stirred an unexpected emotion within him. I'm curious, what's your man like? Wayne asked, his interest piqued. Olivia played along, aiming to gain his trust. He's tall, well-built, and handsome, she described. Wayne scoffed. He must be a pauper, then. Olivia noticed Wayne's slight unease but didn't reveal her true feelings. She played along. Yes, but we're deeply in love and have 4 children. Does his family have a throne to inherit? What era are we in to have so many children? Wayne dismissed the notion with sneer. His gaze inadvertently drifted to Olivia's slender waist. Since their misunderstanding that day, Olivia had dressed more conservatively. Today, she wore a sporty outfit. It was far from anything seductive. Wayne couldn't help but wonder how a woman who had given birth to 4 children could maintain such firm skin. I love him and am willing to bear his children. Olivia laughed. That's why I call you foolish, Wayne retorted. And you, do you have someone you love? Olivia redirected the conversation toward him. No one is worthy of my affection, Wayne answered coldly. Conceited much. I thought this ring was a token of love from your girlfriend, Olivia teased as she reached out for the ring. She felt like a fairy coveting a treasure and was almost drooling. Before she could touch the ring, Wayne slapped her hand away sharply. Ouch. And you're saying it's not from your girlfriend? You treasure it so much, you won't even let others take a closer look, Olivia complained. Wayne's face darkened. Have you forgotten my words? Look less, ask less, touch less. Otherwise, you're dead. Olivia touched her hand with a look of grievance on her face. I was merely curious about the unique design of your ring. Did you really need to use so much force? Imagine if you incapacitated my hand, who would help you with acupuncture then? I didn't even use much force, Wayne replied lightly. She stretched her hand out to show him. The red mark on her fair skin was clearly visible and pronounced. Women are such trouble, Wayne muttered under his breath. Olivia wanted to argue further, but he was clearly not interested in talking about the ring. Suddenly, Wayne mentioned, in a few days, foreigners will arrive. Don't wander around like today to avoid offending anyone. During these days, Olivia hadn't just been idling in her room. She had gathered the current situation from the maids. Arlandia and Vutrin had formed an alliance, leading to a ceasefire agreement. Hence, a multinational meeting was imminent. Could one of the visitors be Ethan? Chapter 1259. Wayne snapped his fingers in front of Olivia. Snap out of it. What's on your mind? Olivia returned to reality and found an excuse as she looked at Wayne. I was just marveling at how prestigious your identity is. You've found out? Wayne inquired. I heard someone address you as the president. Your free access to Dexam City, your private jet, and this palace, Elle guessed as much quite some time ago, Olivia confessed. She'd be foolish to pretend any further. Seeing her composed expression, Wayne remarked, if you know who I am, aren't you afraid of me? Others fear me to death. I was scared at first. But if you really wanted to kill me, you wouldn't have waited till now. So, I'm not afraid. Besides, didn't you say you'd reward me once I've cured you? Olivia reasoned. No wonder her attitude toward him had softened. It was all for money. Wayne huffed coldly. So, you love money that much? I doubt there's anyone in the world who doesn't like money. Besides, with this money, I can provide a comfortable life for my children. Don't worry, I'll take good care of you, Olivia assured him, giving a noble reason for her change in attitude. In Wayne's eyes, she was merely a fragile mother striving for her family's livelihood. By the way, do you need a body massage? You must be exhausted these days, Olivia offered. Wayne glanced at her. That's kind of you. Weren't you indifferent toward me before? Olivia rubbed her hands together. If I do a bit more, could you perhaps pay me a bit more? Money grubber, Wayne muttered under his breath before he sat up. He then added, that depends on your performance. Olivia was fully focused on pleasing him. His arm wound had healed, so she had no reservations about removing his jacket. He lay in the middle of the large bed. To undress him better, Olivia removed her shoes, climbed onto the bed, and kneeled before him. Her fingers deftly unbuttoned his shirt. Wayne suddenly grabbed her wrist. Is this how you attend to your man? Olivia paused for a moment before responding, yes. She removed his shirt, positioning him to lie down. Her strength and technique were just right, making Wayne envious of the man who enjoyed her daily service. Olivia's hands glided from his shoulders down to his fingertips, massaging each one meticulously. When her fingers intertwined with his, Wayne's heart skipped a beat. He observed their linked fingers, thinking of the phrase, intertwined fingers. But soon, Olivia moved her hand away to massage his other arm. As before, Olivia naturally suggested, you should take off the ring. It makes it difficult for me to massage properly. Though the man was captivated by the touch of her hands, his mind was still present. No need to massage this hand, he stated. Fine by me, Olivia quickly agreed, not giving herself away. Sure enough, Wayne treasured that ring immensely, giving her no opportunity to touch it. Olivia was determined in her heart. She didn't believe Wayne would never take off the ring. She was sure to find an opportunity to take it. After a comfortable massage and removing all the silver needles, Olivia noticed he had fallen asleep. Wayne's breathing was even. The dark circles under his eyes indicated how busy he had been these days. What were her chances if she were to slip off his ring now? Olivia deliberately dropped a needle near his hand. Just as she touched his little finger, Wayne woke up abruptly. He pulled her down and pinned her beneath him before gripping her neck with his hand. Chapter 1260. Wayne finally came to his senses but did not let go. His eyes were filled with a cold glint as he asked in a deep voice, "What are you trying to do?" Olivia held the silver needle with a look of grievance and replied, "The needle fell near your hand. I was just picking it up." Wayne released his grip only then. "Sorry, it was a reflex. Are you all right?" The distinct red mark on Olivia's neck hardly looked harmless. He felt even more remorseful. "I never intended to harm you. I understand. I'll be more careful in the future. You should rest now. I won't disturb you any longer," Olivia said. She put the silver needles back into the acupuncture kit and returned to her room. The moment she closed the door, she was drenched in sweat. She was terrified as she nearly met her end at that man's hands. His vigilance over the ring was evident, but she wasn't out of options. Starting tomorrow, she would start preparing medicine for Wayne. She planned to add a few sleep-inducing herbs at the right time, wait for him to fall into a deep sleep, and then make her move. Now, Olivia needed to figure out how to escape with the ring. People from Arlandia would arrive in a few days. Olivia was certain Ethan would be among them. A plan began to form in her mind. As she slept fitfully, someone entered the room in the middle of the night. Without a doubt, it was Wayne. He once mentioned that her scent was soothing, helping him overcome his insomnia. So, she ignored his presence and heard him settle down to sleep on the floor by her feet. Wayne tossed and turned. He was unable to sleep for some reason. The room was large, diluting Olivia's scent and making it less pronounced. He had to strain to catch a faint trace of her scent, which felt like feathers tickling his heart. Olivia suddenly awoke. "What are you doing?" Wayne embraced her. "Quiet, I can't sleep. Your scent helps me drift off. Let me go. I have a husband and children. I only agreed to treat you. I didn't," Olivia protested. Wayne climbed on top of her and pinned her soft body beneath him. Her ears could feel the warmth of his breath. "Shut up, or I can't guarantee what I'll do," he whispered. Olivia's heart raced as the unfamiliar scent of the man surrounded her. She knew better than to anger or provoke him at such a moment. She had to cooperate with Wayne as much as possible. Despite everything, Wayne still respected her status as a married woman and didn't cross certain boundaries. He rolled over to lie beside her and treated her like a large pillow. He embraced her tightly with his chin resting on her shoulder and neck. He soon fell asleep. Olivia could clearly feel the ring on the finger resting on her waist. She wished she could take it from him right then. The night was torturous for her. She kept struggling between her desire for the ring and the need to remain alert in the arms of a stranger. Fortunately, Wayne was only seeking comfort to sleep. He slept soundly until dawn. He woke up feeling as if there was a woman in his arms and instinctively pinched her. At the sound of Olivia's cry, a slap followed immediately. Olivia kicked him onto the floor. "Pervert, will you ever stop?" Wayne was finally fully awake. He looked down at his empty palm, realizing that the soft sensation he felt moments ago must have been her. His gaze then shifted to Olivia's chest, and he showed an expression that reflected his increasing desire.